Hey, I have been noticing lately, and I saw this on 60 Minutes last night on CBS, on one of their segments, was about this effort that has been put together by several, well, I guess you would call them social scientists, who are trying to bridge the gap between people, for lack of a better term, let's say people on the left and people on the right. The delineation is more subtle than that in some instances, but as kind of a catch-all phrase, let's put it that way. People on the left, people on the right. We all hate each other, right? And it is impeding the progress of this country. It is making everybody sick. It's making everybody enraged. It carries with it the potential for extreme violence, yada, 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 yada. So something should be done about it. And these social scientists are coming up with this idea, or have come up with this idea, of people sitting down and bridging the gap. Now, the system by which this is supposed to occur goes under several different headings, several different titles about how to do this. And there's no point in my mentioning the different processes, but they all boil down to the same thing. You sit down with somebody, if you're on the left, you sit down with somebody on the right and have a dialogue and get to know them. And in that process of getting to know the person who has diametrically opposed ideas as far as yours are concerned, in that process, everything will dissolve. At least enough will dissolve that people can get along. And I've been listening to this. I've been thinking, gee, I wonder if that's a way out of this jungle of discontent that we find ourselves in. And the more I think about it, the more I come up with one word: bullshit. I'm sorry, but how does that work? I mean, I have listened, I've watched the video presentations, I've listened, I've read the pieces about this reaching across the void stuff. And I try to think, okay, what would I do if I were to participate in that? If I were to sit down across the table from some militia type dude who is a fascist Christian, what in the hell would be the starting point? Now, some of these programs say the starting point, well, each participant fills out a biographical sheet about who they are, where they come from, maybe little sketches of their personal life, what they like, dislike, what their parents are like, just little biographical stuff. And then when the session begins, they swap biographical sketches so that I would read out loud the biographical sketch handed across the table to me by the militia guy, and he in turn would read mine. So I would sit there and read as if I were he. And the more I thought about that, I thought, well, this is crazy talk. This sounds like psychobabble. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all in favor of talk therapy as a means of a person solving their issues of anxiety or depression or murderous impulses, whatever they are. I'm a great believer in one-on-one therapy with a qualified therapist. But to sit across the table from someone who wants to kill me because I believe in talking about the truth of the history of this country, about its racism, its murderous actions when this country was being settled by white Europeans. I believe in that, and the person I'm sitting across rejects that out of hand. I am aware of what slavery has done to millions of people and how detrimental it has been to them and to my tribe. And the person I'm sitting across the table from doesn't want to hear that shit. Now, in theory, all of that dissolves if I am him and he is me for that brief moment of reading each other's biographical sketch. Now, in that setting, there is a facilitator who also sits at the table. I'm not sure what he or she is supposed to do, what their function is. Maybe to call the police when the beating starts. I have no idea. But how would you handle that? And do you believe it's valid? I don't. I just simply don't, because we're not starting from the same irreconcilable differences standpoint. If I believe slavery was horrific to millions of people, and the person I'm sitting across from doesn't even want to discuss the topic, how do we get past that? If I believe in social progress and that the Democratic Party over the past 100 years has done more to assist in progress of all people, and that the Republican Party has done everything to impede progress of all people except the elite, how do we bridge that gap? I mean, how do I let the person know that, here it comes, he's full of shit? He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Now, obviously, he's going to think the same thing about me. But is there such a thing as objective reality, objective truth? Look, millions of people were murdered in this country. Indigenous people and enslaved people. That is simply a fact. It can't be denied. It can't be gotten around. Millions of people were held against their will to work in the tobacco and cotton and rice and all sorts of agricultural industries in this country from the founding of this country up until, the 1950s. That is a fact. It can't be made to go away because two people sit across the table from each other and talk about, well, my mama said that, well, your mama said that. You know, what is that? I'm sorry. Fascism is real. That's a fact. And there is a political movement in this country now, a quasi-political movement, it's religio-political movement, to impose a fascist form of government. That's a fact. How do I, as someone who's opposed to fascism, I'm Antifa, how do I bridge the gap with the person who is utterly convinced that fascism is the way to go? Now, the quick answer is that in the conversations between me and the militia type, these differences will begin to dissolve. I'll be able to see his position. Are you fucking kidding me? He'll be able to see mine. Well, I hope he would see my position, because my position is based in justice, equality under law, fairness, truth, history, observable fact, right? And his position is based in bigotry, stupidity, ignorance, Trumpism, fascist Christianity. The point being here, the reason I'm bringing this up, I don't see a way out of this. And I hate to be told by a segment on 60 Minutes in a roundabout way, not directly, but in a roundabout way, that I'm a hopeless mess because I could not sit down with somebody like that and discuss things. What is to discuss? I mean, is there not observable, concrete reality? Are there not facts? Is there not history? According to the right, the answer to all of those questions is no. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.